Steve, long journey back from Dagenham, but I bet there must have been a few smiles on that bus.
Yeah, no, it was a long journey back, and it was longer because the M25 shut, which is not anything new. So back through the centre of London, so it was a long way home. But we actually did mention on the bus, it's a lot easier when you win and you're on the way home. But it was I wouldn't say it was a late night; it was an early morning. We didn't probably get home till about 3. So, but no, everybody's rested, and we've trained again this morning, lightly this morning, obviously. We'll do a little bit more tomorrow in preparation for the game on Saturday.
And psychologically, you've used up one of those games in hand and taken all 3, which is also important for you.
Yeah, it is important. There's no point in saying it's not important because we would rather have the points on the board than games to play. Everybody says that, and it is the best way to be. But we couldn't do anything about it. As I said before, we've had something like 9 cup games this year, and we haven't been able to fit those other games in early enough because we've had so many games. What you didn't want to do was stack on top of the games we already had. We needed to have a little bit of a breather before we put those important games back in. And obviously the game the other night, it's not ideal when you play somebody twice within a month. It's not ideal. So I thought we were good value for the win the other night.
And a debut and a first training session today for Fabian.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about how you found him. Has somebody been watching for a while? What's the story behind this?
No, I have to be honest with that. No, that wasn't the case. I know Richard Hughes very well up at Liverpool, and he's well up the chain there now, Richard. And a phone call to him, and then helped by his assistant, we managed to get Fabian done very, very quickly. So that was a little bit of a bonus. We obviously looked at before I'd spoke to Richard and after I'd spoke to Richard, there was a fair bit of work done on the laptops in the hotel. We were looking at that between all of us, all of the staff, and trying to say, okay, yeah, he's been out, he's had a loan in Sweden. He played in front of some big crowds out there, so he wasn't intimidated by that. And obviously, if he's going to have a future at Liverpool, he's going to have to do that because they will always have an incredible attendance there. So, to get him in as quickly as we got him in, I can't say it was easy. It was real tough from about 4 p.m. until 11 p.m. It was really, really tough. I had to say them 7 hours. But it was great. We all got together, and obviously, sometimes it's about your contacts in the game that can help you out, and it was great.
And now he's one of the lads having a training session here and bedding himself in, I guess, with the culture.
Yeah, well, look, at the end of the day, if anybody comes into this dressing room and they can't fit in, the chances are it'll be them. It won't be the dressing room. The dressing room is very, very good, very, very supportive. I only said the other night after the game, during the first half, and then when the lads were out warming up at half time, I told the starters at half time how much the boys have been supporting them from the bench, because they can't always hear that. And there's every moment where they're praising one of the boys that's done something. That doesn't happen often. Quite often they sit on the bench and with all due respect, the player in their position, they don't really want him to be outstanding, because then all of a sudden they don't get on the pitch, do they? But we didn't have any of that the other night. It was incredible, and they've got that. The boys have got that. They've worked really, really hard, and they're good at accepting people that come in the door. But they have to be a certain type, and what I mean by that, they have to be a right one, because if they're a wrong one, I won't need to sort them out. They'll sort them out themselves. So that's quite good, that.
And you talked about Harry Cardwell's running stats the other night as well. What did they turn out to be?
Yeah, he was the best.
Yeah, I mean, and that is huge, isn't it? And that leadership on the pitch, really.
Yeah, I thought he would be. He normally, his running stats are up there. I just thought we had a lot of good performances the other night. Really, really difficult. But I just thought, sometimes it starts at the top end of the pitch. I think the game starts with your strikers. And I say that to him a lot. And I thought he did that right from the off the other night. Incredibly unselfish. incredible the other night. The other boys have done the same, by the way. You know, Doige's done exactly the same. Quiggs has done exactly the same. So, you know, they do sacrifice themselves for the team at times.
And Charlie, on a score sheet, back in the first team,
Yeah.
to get that goal early on as well, get back in the groove of things, that must be important for him.
Yeah, I thought he had a quiet first half, Charlie, to be honest. You know, certainly by the standards that he set. But I thought he had a quiet first half, and I did say to him at half time, you know, how are you? You know, have you got... He actually got stronger in the second half than the first half, which sometimes that can happen, you know. What we've got to bear in mind with Charlie now is, you know, to get back playing again and playing at that consistent level, he might be a little bit up and down for a week or two. He might. I don't definitely know that. So yeah, it's just something we've got to look at. You know, he ended up being out for a long period of time. When you think about being out for 6 weeks plus, it's a long time. That sometimes that's a whole off season. Yeah. But he's a really fit boy, and I said the other night before the game that, you know, we missed him, we miss his goals, and he's come back in, and, you know, it isn't really a coincidence that he turned up with one.
Next challenge, Eastleigh at home.
Yeah.
They've held Barnet and Oldham recently, but that just, I guess the only reason they're mid-table is just consistency they're missing. I don't
know, because I don't watch them consistently, so I wouldn't want to be presumptuous on or saying anything about them being consistent or inconsistent. That's nothing to do with me. That's Kelvin's job to sort out his own team, which I'm sure he does, and he does very well. So really, the games are about us, really, and what we do, and we always know we'll give teams a game if we play well. So that's our only aim, really, is to concentrate on ourselves now. As I've said before, you know, when you're managing, you have enough to worry about with your own team and your own club, and you haven't got time to worry about anybody else or think too much about anybody else. Obviously, the game's coming up, you know, and they've had some good results. We just need to concentrate and play well. If we can stand here now and say that we go into the game and we play well, I'll just take that, because the result can look after itself then.
I mean, you last played back in October. It was at the start of this run that you're still on there.
Yeah.
And you are still on this run, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it is incredible now. 18 games. What is this doing for the unit? And, you know, we're talking about Fabian coming in there. He's coming into a side which is full of confidence, isn't it?
Well, it's funny, because I actually think the last two games, well, they've been away games, I think our last two performances have gone back to somewhere where we were, where we got a little bit stuck for a little while. I think that was having too many away games at the start of the season, and then having too many home games, and then the expectancy level all the time. I think it sort of got to us a little bit, and I thought and then what happens is the performances just tend to drift a little bit, and I think that's why we had a few draws. I thought there were signs last week, not last week, the week before, at Altrincham, where I thought, we're coming back. I know there was changes I made, you know, 5 or 6 changes going into the Eastleigh game, but I was going to make those changes anyway, because I knew we had a 3-game week this week. And then I thought the other night against Dagenham, I just thought that was that, I don't know, there was that look in us the other night. I thought we had that look in our eye. I thought we were determined. Yeah, and I thought we were tough the other night. I just thought we had that look about us. We had that bit of snap.
Which is great going into Saturday.
Yeah.
What are you expecting from Eastleigh?
They're good on set plays, dangerous team on set plays. We've got to make sure that, you know, they've got some good players that can deliver some good balls, and they've got some good aerial threats. So we need to make sure that we counteract that. I thought early on in the season we played very, very well down there, but you know, that game means nothing now. Absolutely nothing. We start again. We start fresh. They get our full respect, like every team does. We don't wander into a game and the lads don't know what the plan is or what we're looking to do. So, you know, as I've said, today had to be a very light day. Tomorrow we will brush up a lot more on what we need to be doing going forward on Saturday. But yeah, Eastleigh get full respect like everybody else does.